Here we are outside the Tower of London in London, England. Now, this building holds a lot of history. It was started in the year 1066 and then completed in the year 1216. Just think about all the people that have walked through those gates. Royals, celebrities, tourists, and even pirates. The Tower of London is actually the nickname of this place. The full name is Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress, but that's too much of a mouthful. The man who built the Tower of London was called William the Conqueror. He was a Norman king 1,000 years ago. As you can tell by his name, he liked to fight. And when you like to fight, you get a few enemies. So he built the Tower of London to keep all of his enemies out. But they realized that it is so good at keeping people in as well as out that they turned it into a prison. Now, let's just imagine what type of jewels the royal family has. Crowns, tiaras, a jewel-encrusted sword, a room full of gold? Well, what they do have are called the crown jewels, and there are guards that watch them 24/7 so no one even thinks about stealing them. The crown jewels are meant to be worth 24 billion pounds. That's about 70 billion New Zealand dollars. And there's one jewel called the Star of Africa that's meant to be worth 250 million pounds by itself. Now, there is a guard called the Silent Guard, and he's never allowed to speak. He never is allowed to disturb the royal family. If anyone talks to him, he can only talk back in the slightest whisper. I want to see if you guys can talk to the person next to you in the quietest voice possible. Now, can you imagine being that quiet your whole life? I bet some of you can't even be quiet for 1 minute. The royal family are lovers of animals. The Queen has her pet dog, corgis, and I'm sure there are other animals hanging around the palace. But there's an animal that stays here that is a pretty strange pet. There was a man in the royal family who was quite superstitious. He felt that the tower here would crumble and fall if there were no ravens kept in the property. He thought this because the tower has always been safe and there has always been ravens kept on the property. Doesn't sound like a very logical reason to me, but they kept the tradition anyway, because to this day there is always at least 6 ravens kept in the Tower of London. There were other scarier animals kept on the property, lions. Now, do you remember when I said that the tower was built to keep people in and out? Well, the lions helped with that job. The lions would guard the property, and if anyone was not where they should be, the lions would have them for dinner. That's okay though. There hasn't been any lions kept on this property for a long time. They got sent over to the zoo so they had more room to run around and less people to eat. There were even more animals kept in the Tower of London. Well, around the Tower of London. Crocodiles. A great way to keep intruders out is to build a big moat around your property. What a moat is a giant ring of water. Most of the time they don't have dangerous animals in them, they're just too wide to get across. But the moat that was around here had big, hungry crocodiles, so no one would try and get past. Activity time. You've been listening to all my facts, so it's time to get up and jumping. You need to get into groups of 5 or 6. Teachers, can you find a place that's going to be your moat? Make sure it's wide enough so the kids can't just jump across. In your groups, you need to find a way to get all your members across the moat without touching the water, because remember, there's hungry crocodiles waiting for you. You can have some strategy planning time now. The winners are the first group to get all of their team members across the moat. Good luck. So how'd you go? Did you work well as a group? Make sure you share all the strategies that worked well and maybe the ones that didn't work quite so well. The way that the royals or the special visitors would get in and out of the Tower of London is by something called a drawbridge. It is a big gate or door that blocks the entrance, and when they want to get in, it lowers down and becomes a bridge to walk across. When they're done, they pull the ropes and the gate goes back up to block the entrance. This technology is still used today. Sometimes when a boat wants to go down a river, there's a bridge that's just a bit too small. So the bridge rises up to let the boat pass through. And when the boat's gone, it lowers down again. This bridge behind me is called the Tower Bridge. And it works like that because sometimes huge cruisers and boats need to go up and down the Thames River here. Here is your challenge. You're going to be working in a pair to create your own working, functional drawbridge. Look closely at how the drawbridge works. Then in your pair, plan what you're going to use and design how it's going to work. You are not allowed to buy anything new. So recycle an old milk bottle or a cereal box. See what you can do. Remember to be creative and see if it can be different to everyone else's in your classroom. When you're done, please send me some photos of your completed structures. I'd love to have a look and see how well they work. Have fun being engineers! Now, I know that there aren't crocodiles here anymore, but I think I'm going to get out of here before I might come face to face with one. See you next time! If you want to hear about more of the interesting animals that have lived here at the Tower of London, click this box and I'll tell you more.